A dispatcher in Stepford County Railway is responsible for ensuring that trains leave stations safely and on time. Once a train arrives at the assigned platform and is ready to depart, the dispatcher whistles to signal the driver or guard to close the doors. After that, the dispatcher whistles again to give the train permission to depart. This procedure is repeated for every train dispatch, which helps to maintain smooth and efficient station operations. In this video, I will explain everything you need to know about dispatching and guide you through the process step by step. So, my name is Janetta and let's get straight into the video. To spawn as a dispatcher, go to the role selection menu and choose Dispatcher. From here, each station displays the number of groups and platforms. Select the station you wish to dispatch and click Spawn. Please note that not all stations in the game are dispatchable, meaning some stations are not listed here. After spawning as a dispatcher, this is how you will appear, holding a whistle and a baton. Your uniform may vary depending on the station you're at and the operator serving that station. Anyway, the game will automatically assign new platforms to dispatch based on current availability. You can find your platform assignment by looking at the top left of your screen. You will be responsible for dispatching trains from your assigned platforms. Once a train arrives at your assigned platform, the dispatch overlay will appear at the front of the train. You can toggle this overlay by pressing a respective keybind shown, or by navigating to Settings, Display, then Dispatch Overlay. The overlay displays important train information, which I will explain in detail later, including the status, lateness, platform number, head code, and destination. The overlay is color-coded to indicate how late the train is. Once a train begins loading, you can select the train by clicking on the box surrounding it. The dispatch UI will then appear on the right-hand side of your screen. There are two buttons. CD stands for Close Doors and RA stands for Right Away. Train Ready to Start, also known as TRTS, is a tool that lets any active signalers know that the train is preparing to depart the station and the signals should be cleared if they haven't already. You will use this tool called the TRTS box. TRTS boxes can be found at most station platforms. At through platforms, they are found in the middle of the platform, while at terminating platforms, they are found near the buffer. You can also find the box through the overlay by pressing the same respective keybind, only if there is a train at the platform. When a train is arriving at a station, stand next to the TRTS box. You are able to open the box once the train begins loading passengers and is at least 30 seconds or below before the train is ready to depart. Open the box by pressing a respective keybind shown. Then, press the TRTS button by holding the same keybind. The button will flash yellow once TRTS was sent. If you fail to press the TRTS button after 10 seconds, the box will close and you will need to reopen it. Platforms that do not have junctions after them will not have TRTS boxes, meaning TRTS will be sent automatically. This means you don't need to look for a TRTS box and proceed to the next dispatching procedure, which will be explained later. After pressing TRTS, an active signaler will clear the platform signal when necessary and if they haven't done so already. Identifying the signal aspect is important as this tells you whether it's safe to dispatch the train or not. So, before dispatching a train, there are different ways to identify the signal aspect. You can determine the signal aspect at your platform by looking at the physical signal ahead. If the signal shows Proceed, Preliminary Caution, or Caution, it's safe to dispatch. If the signal shows Danger, it's not safe to dispatch. Always make sure to keep in mind about this. Off indicators are tools located along station platforms that help you determine the platform signal aspect. They are especially useful for dispatchers and guards. A lit off indicator means the signal ahead is not danger, so it's safe to dispatch. An unlit off indicator means the signal ahead is danger, so it's not safe to dispatch. Some station platforms have two off indicators side by side, with the direction shown beneath them. This indicates that the platform is bidirectional, meaning trains can enter or leave the platform from either direction. If you're unsure which off indicator to follow, simply look directly at the signal ahead instead. Band repeaters are another tool, similar to off indicators, used to identify the signal aspect at certain stations. A diagonal stripe indicates the signal ahead is not danger, so it's safe to dispatch. A horizontal stripe indicates the signal ahead is danger, so it's not safe to dispatch. Semaphore signals are another way to determine the signal aspect at your platform. At the time of this video, semaphore signals are found on the Raleigh Bay branch. The semaphore displays at least one diagonal arm indicates the signal ahead is not danger, so it's safe to dispatch. The semaphore displays both horizontal arms indicate the signal ahead is danger, so it's not safe to dispatch. Now that you have learned different tools for identifying the platform signal aspect ahead, let's move on to the actual dispatching procedures. The first thing you should do once a train arrives at your assigned platform is to check whether or not there is an active guard on the train you are dispatching. If the train opens their doors and a guard is not present, you should start positioning by the following. First, you must dispatch from the platform where the train has arrived. An exception for this rule applies when you are dispatching on an adjacent island platform, where you will have to adjust your position to face towards the driver. Next, position yourself anywhere between the middle and rear of the train when dispatching. Before positioning, ensure that the TRTS is already sent. For instance, if a train consists of 4 cars, stand anywhere between the 3rd and 4th cars. Then, make sure to stand a safe distance from the train. However, do not stand too far away from the side of the train or beyond the rear of the train. Avoid obstructions that can block your baton. Finally, face toward the front of the train where the driver is located. When dispatching on a curved platform, adjust your position so that you can clearly see and face toward the front of the train while still standing between the middle and rear of the train. Once you're set and ready to dispatch, let's move to the next procedure. Once the train has finished loading and you have pressed the RTS, the close doors button will highlight in pink, as well as the status on the overlay and the TRTS box marker. Do not press this button yet. First, confirm the signal aspect ahead using one of the identifiers we just covered, most commonly the off indicator. If the off indicator is unlit, then the signal ahead is danger. Do not dispatch the train and you must wait until it changes, unless the train has overshot the signal. Once you have confirmed the signal ahead is clear, it's safe to dispatch. You may press the close doors button. This triggers your whistle and raises a white light button. Remain still during the animation. The driver is then prompted to close the passenger doors. Once the doors are fully closed, the right away button will highlight in pink. Do not press this button yet. First, check the interlock lights along the sides of each carriage. Make sure every light is off. You can briefly zoom out for a better view, but make it quick. Again, confirm the signal ahead if it's still clear. If so, you may press the right away button. This triggers your whistle again and raises a green light button this time. Again, remain still during the animation. The train can now depart from the station. After the dispatch animation ends, you are free to move. However, you must remain on the platform until the train has completely left. You may briefly zoom out to see the train clearly. Congrats! You have successfully dispatched the train without a guard. Each train you dispatch will earn you 5 points and 1 experience. If the train opens its doors and a guard is present, the dispatching procedure will vary slightly depending on where the guard exits the train. However, the overall process is very similar to dispatching a train without a guard. There are 2 possible dispatching positions depending on where the guard is located. If the guard is at the rear of the train, you should stand between the front and the middle of the train. For example, If the train has 4 cars, stand anywhere between the first and second cars. If the guard is at the middle of the train, you should stand at the very rear of the train, regardless of how many coaches it has. This situation typically occurs with double unit trains. After you have positioned yourself according to the guard's location, face toward the guard either at the rear or the middle of the train. Once the train has finished loading, confirm the signal aspect ahead. If the signal is clear, press the close doors button. The guard will then be prompted to close the passenger doors. When the doors are fully closed, check the interlock lights along the sides of each carriage. All lights should be unlit except for the guard's local carriage, which will flash. Confirm the signal aspect again. If it remains clear, press the right away button. The guard will raise a white torch, board the train, and the train will depart. Stay on the platform until the train has completely left. Congrats, you have successfully dispatched the train with a guard. Longer trains are those with at least 8 carriages. When dispatching longer trains, it's important to be mindful of where you stand. Position yourself so you have a clear view of the entire train, including every carriage, the driver, and the guard if present. However, the dispatching procedure, whether or not a guard is present, remains the same. When dispatching longer trains with the guard positioned at the rear, ensure that both you and the guard can see each other, as well as the front of the train. A good practice is to position yourself closer to the middle until the guard is able to see you. However, you'll still have to remain at the front half of the train. When multiple trains are present at your assigned platforms, train priority determines the order of dispatch. The order of priority is as follows: head code, lateness, and then operator. Trains with high priority should always be dispatched first, as it helps with the traffic flow across the network. Each train has a unique head code identifying its service. For dispatching purposes, only the first digit, which is the train class, is relevant. In addition, the letter in the head code represents the train's destination, while the last 2 digits are randomly generated. Head code priority is ranked in this order: 9, 1, 2, then 3. For example, at Layton City, both 1L and 2E are ready to depart. Using the head code priority, 1L must be dispatched first, followed by 2E. If 2 trains share the same head code, check their lateness. The late trains always take priority over on-time trains. For example, at Willowfield, 2V, which is on time, and 2U, which is delayed, are ready to depart. Since lateness takes priority, 2U is dispatched first, then 2V. If both head code and lateness are the same, priority is decided by the operator. The ranking is Express, Airlink, Connect, Waterline, then Metro. For example, at Layton Stepford Road, Airlink and Express are ready to depart. According to operator priority, Express goes first, then Airlink. If all trains are equal in all 3 categories, you may dispatch them in any order. Now let's go over some additional rules you will need to know when dispatching. First, let's talk about arriving trains. If a train is arriving into a station and another train is already waiting to depart, the normal priority rules don't apply. You should always dispatch the train that's ready to depart first. Arriving trains will be handled after that. Next, if a train overshoots the platform signal or passes the signal at danger, you must dispatch that train before any others, no matter what the usual priority says. The only exception is if you have already started dispatching the other train. Finally, when an active signaler is controlling the zone your station is in, they might instruct you to dispatch one train ahead of another. In these cases, always follow the signaler's instructions. They can see the bigger picture of the entire zone and may need to adjust priorities for traffic management. To become a dispatcher in-game, you must be a qualified driver in the SCR Roblox group and have at least 360 experiences in-game. After meeting these requirements, you will have to take the quiz, Attend the dispatcher training, follow supervisor's instructions, and I wish you the best luck with your practical assessment. That's pretty much it. Hopefully, this video gave you a clear understanding of how to dispatch trains properly. Whether you're handling multiple trains, longer trains, or dispatching with guards, dispatching may look simple on the surface, but as you've seen, there are a lot of important details to keep in mind to keep the network running safely and smoothly. If you found this guide helpful, make sure to leave a like, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on upcoming videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.